day 13 of my fruit fast. I'm here in Costa Rica, and I am asking myself what I'm doing here and why I'm doing it. Because I'm witnessing a lot of people who come here to have fun, to go on vacation, to live la pura vida, to relax, to go to the beach, to be surf bums. And I'm witnessing some parts of myself which might be in resonance with that element of being, but there are far greater, far more powerful parts of myself which are like, that is still playing small. That is not enough for me. How can I use this time in my life to be in deeper devotion, to deepen my connection to the earth and sky, to deepen my connection to God, and to unfurl my angelic wings and allow my purpose to be my North Star? To allow myself to live in a way that embodies the depth of that purpose. I see so many human beings who are carrying their soul's missions into their lives day to day. And sometimes it's grand, insofar as it has a grand impact. They are impacting hundreds, thousands, millions of human beings. And while I'm not focusing yet upon quantity, I have very little concern with quantity, but rather with quality. The quality of the truth that I speak, the quality of the truth which I embody, the quality of the healing which I emanate in the world, which I offer to you, or to whomever I come into contact with. How can I align my life more purposefully and carry out the divine will which God wants to grant me in my life? How can I embody the purpose which God has placed me here for? And how can I stop playing small and start living out a mission that contributes to humanity's betterment, to humanity's healing, that helps people out of the pits of their own suffering, that helps bring systemic change to a world that is broken in so many ways? Virgo, with an eclipse, a lunar eclipse in Virgo, is a great time to take account of all of the old patterns, all of the behaviors that cling to comfort, that ritualize passivity, idleness, inaction. And to ask ourselves, do we want to stay like this? Do we want to stay in this kind of life? And at the same time, to consider what are our dreams? What are our aspirations? What transformations do we wish to willfully weave into our daily lives to become the cornerstones of our heart-centered being? What practices do we wish to instill to invite our purpose into our lives? To invite God to guide us more deeply into who we are and who we are meant to become. And as I'm asking myself these questions and I'm wondering about what my intentions truly are in these transformative lands, in these immensely raw and wild jungles of Costa Rica, I am feeling the ways in which I'm still clinging to tiny, small little ways of survival and avoidance of purpose. Because stepping into one's purpose means responsibility. It means work. It means service. It means devotion. It means less avoidance, less room for avoidance, less possibility of slipping up. And today I found myself at the little market that was happening in the town, happens once a week. And in America, what I do is I bring my typewriter to markets and I offer poetry to people. And then that's how I make money. And so today I brought my typewriter and I did make some money. And my poems were well received and they were beautiful to write, and I love doing that. But how can I do more? How can I go from impacting these individual lives in ways that feel fairly minute, sometimes more deep, of course, but how can I have a greater impact on humanity? How can I amplify my mission? How can I stop playing small, just typing little poems? And live in a continuation and amplification of my soul's calling, which refines its quality and amplifies the quantity of people that it helps, and refines upon the systematic change, perhaps even quantum metaphysical reorientation of reality away from fallen infrastructure and into the Garden of Eden blueprint, in proximity and reunion with divinity and God. How can I use my breaths and my will and align my breaths and my will with the breath and will of my Creator, God, in order to truly reorient reality into the healing that is so, quite frankly, desperately needed for so many human beings who are still lost? Deeply, deeply, deeply lost. Because I feel myself here wanting to cling to all of the old ways in which I have lived, and those parts of me are like, this is comfortable, this is easy, we know this is how this works, we know this is secure. But simultaneously, I'm being asked by God and Goddess to dive into the mystery, where all of those old ways I don't really have access to. And I'm being asked to reconsider what abundance truly means. What the abundance of the heart truly is. What living in one's purpose truly means. And I know that my mind does not want me safe, does not want me free, it wants me safe. But my mind has a tendency to take me into places where that safety proves its own illusory nature. Whereas I always find my safety within my soulful connection to God and to the earth, to the goddess, to the divine. To my prayer. So I am in a process of witnessing this old version of me still clinging to survivalistic tensions within his body, within my body, and still clinging to old kind of dharma bum ways of being. Like, oh, I will just bring my typewriter and I'll just busk for a few dollars here and there. I'll content myself with just giving people some nice little poetry. Whereas my soul is like, brother, write a book, and then write another, and then write another. Speak to the world, offer your truths, expand your soul, unfurl your wings, take flight, go to every aspect and corner of the world, learn languages, love every human being that you encounter, learn from their stories, listen, and then offer guidance if it is called. And just be yourself more deeply. Don't shy away. Don't hide from the world. Be yourself in your majesty and glow and shine like this glorious sun which gives us life. And so I'm feeling both of these aspects of myself. And when I feel, let us call them the shadowy depths which wants to pull me down, then I must be in some kind of surrender to it and witness it with deeper perception, with more perceptive eyes, and say, what is the root cause of the lack of self-worth, of the desire to avoid, of the desire to stay small? What is actually happening there? And feel it somatically within my body. And then when I feel the abundance of my soul wanting to come online, when I feel my soul's mission wanting to break free from its cocoon into a butterfly, when I feel my angelic self wanting to stand in a fire of absolute devotion and have zero tolerance for any kind of bullshit or poison or falsity or deceit, what does that feel like in my body? And where does that come from? And how can I follow that more deeply, more fervently, more lucidly, more freely? These are the things which I am feeling. And just to touch upon the fruit fasting aspect, for some reason it wants to come up right now. It's like this parenthetical question. For me, it almost feels like I could do this for the rest of my life. This is how I'm intended to eat. This is how I feel most pure. This is how I feel most alive. This is how I feel most purified. And in the meantime, I'm shedding layers and layers and layers, and the cravings that I have for flesh, for processed foods. When I smell fried foods and I'm like, initially that smells kind of nice. Oh, wait a minute. I don't actually think that smells nice. What do I want? I'm asking myself, what is abundance today? And I've been asking myself the question, this is going to sound like a tangent, but it's not. How do I acquire coconuts for the best price possible? How do I learn to climb the coconut trees so I can just like get them directly from the tree? And I've been buying coconuts for $2 per coconut. And I'm like, that's going to add up. And as I'm like kind of pondering this question, I've done my groceries for the day. I'm walking by the beach and I see this guy up at the top of the coconut tree and I'm like, yo, how much? And I buy like 10 coconuts. I buy 10 coconuts from him at half the price that I've been buying them. And it's like, it just comes. Ask and ye shall receive. And that doesn't mean I'm not going to learn how to climb these trees, but they're pretty fucking high up. So I got to work my way up. There is a metaphor in this little parenthesis about coconuts. So, I am not here simply to eat fruit and coconuts and lie on the beach like a sloth all day. I am here to eat fruit and coconut and mangoes and purify my vessel to ask myself, what parts of me need to fucking die? What parts of me need to let go? What parts of me need to be loved into integration and wholeness? In order for the apotheosis of my soul's blueprint to come more fully online and reunite me with my divine mission and with God and with a kind of life where I can offer the abundance which I am to everyone I come into contact with zero hesitation and with an unconditional outpouring of love and healing at all times. And no, that doesn't mean that all of the old patterns are going to just disappear and melt away and dissolve. Although it does mean that. Sometimes they might flash, come back, and try to be like, hey, I'm still here. What do we want to do about this? And in such moments, I will feel. And I will say hello to these past versions of myself. I love you. Thank you. But this is no longer who I am. Go on into the ocean and return to eternity. For I am reconnecting with the eternity of my soul and the eternity of God. And I no longer have time for these other things, for smallness, for avoidance, for stupidity and willful blindness, for victimhood. Victimhood is a pretty fucking big question. Will I address it right now? I will just touch upon victimhood to say that victimhood is an abdication of personal responsibility. And I am exactly where I am because I chose to be here. And I have always been exactly where I've been because I chose to be there. And there were so many times when I put myself in such fucking tremendously horrible situations and I was like blaming God for it. When I was the one who put myself there. Oh, it's so unfair. Oh, it's so difficult, it's so hard. It is. And it's difficult and it's hard precisely because I have a will strong enough to overcome these things and to reorient them into medicine. Victimhood is a choice. And that's not to say that I don't have my patterns of smallness and avoidance and abnegation, which are that victimhood still clinging to me. But here and now, with this prayerful voice being spoken, this is a ritualistic putting them to death with the light of my awareness, with the light of my apotheosis, with this light of my soul's becoming, and with the sight of my soul's becoming. Here with Poseidon as my witness. So anyway, these are some discourses and some ramblings. I feel like I've perhaps repeated myself a few times, but that's because I am in this process of looping between these extremities. And in the cyclicality of oscillating between these extremities, I get to feel both sides and each time shed a layer, shed a layer, shed a layer, and become more deeply who I am. And this is the process. And my prayer is that by putting this process out there into the internet, into the ethers, into this realm where others can witness me and hear me in this, know that you are not alone in going through processes of your own, which might resemble the process that I am going through. And I pray that I may be a mirror. If you witness deficiencies within me, may they serve as a lesson. If you witness abundance within me, may it serve as guidance. If you witness anything at all that is useful, may it be medicine for you to become your soul more deeply, in a way that is more refined, in a way that is more attuned to the divine. Such that my prayer is that as I offer these vulnerable shares, as I go through this process here with you, that I myself may discover my purpose and my intentions and my clarity and my mission, so that my soul's bloom can be as easy and graceful and beautiful and divinely aligned as a floral bloom. Here we are coming into spring, and we are coming into the ends of winter's death, towards the primordial and innate resurrection of all life. Perhaps I've come to a land where life is more perpetually alive. But nevertheless, I allow those parts of me which need to die, so that each of us can thrive and more fully come into union with the divine. Thank you. Wow. Wishing love and blessings upon all beings. May all beings be free. May all beings come into union and reunion with God. And may all beings come to know true freedom within their hearts. And that includes you. Thank you. Bless you. That was perfect timing. I just finished.